Hi, I'm Andre, and I'm a black nerd with a review for you, Better Reviews. Peach Dragon. I'm gonna give you the good, I'm gonna give you the bad, I'm gonna give you the nerdy. And this will be a non-spoiler review. I will not give any plot points or villains away. This will just be talking about this movie and what I thought about it. First, the good. The dragon in Peach Dragon is absolutely beautiful. They did a really good job with the CGI in this one. I was a little turned off at first because the dragon's a little fuzzy, a little furry, but it actually works out. I would recommend seeing the movie in 2D though. I had the luxury of watching it in 3D, and I think that kind of takes you out of it sometimes. You are just like, that's a CGI dragon. Whereas I think with 2D, with it all blended together, it will actually work out better. But really good job with this dragon. You will love him. He's adorable. And when you look at his face, his facial expressions will remind you a little bit of the 2D animated dragon from the original Peach Dragon. So that's neat. In addition to the dragon being beautiful, this movie is beautiful. The cinematography on this thing is absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful shots of the forest. It's all filmed in New Zealand. There were times when I was watching this movie going, are the Power Rangers gonna show up? Because the whole thing is filmed in New Zealand. But it's a really beautiful film, and the direction on it is very well done. You're gonna love how this film looks on the big screen. There's even a scene in this movie, it's kind of weird because it's beautiful how they do it. It's a slow-mo scene. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see it, but it's beautifully shot. But it's also a very sad moment, and I was sitting there conflicted because I was like, this is really sad, but it looks so good. But it's really sad, but it looks so good. Oh. The kid that plays Pete, Oaks Fagley, I believe his name is, he's amazing in this movie. He doesn't even talk a lot in this movie, but his facial expressions and the times that he talks, he really holds this movie up since you spend a lot of time with him. There's a good portion of the movie in the beginning where it's just Pete and the dragon, which is very nice because it establishes their friendship, but it's good to see that since he's a large part of this movie that he carries the film very well. And who else is really good in this movie is Bryce Dallas Howard. There's a lot of different actors in this movie, but she's the main one that you will see throughout the course of the movie. I know we made a lot of fun of Bryce Dallas Howard this past year running around in Jurassic World in those heels, but in this movie, I really had respect for her and how she performs. She's a really good actress. She does a really good job in this movie. She is also not Jessica Chastain. They're not the same person. And this movie is simple. With all the complicated plots that we've had in a lot of movies trying to set up full universes in the past few months, it was nice to see a movie that was just nice and plain and simple. And I think it's set in the 80s. They don't ever really say in the movie, but Wikipedia says 1982, and there's no cell phones, there's no computers in this movie, so it has a very classic feel. This movie reminded me so much of like a classic 80s family film, like a Disney 80s film or a Spielberg 80s family film. It was very much in that vein. It had magical feelings to it. It had a little bit of humor, a lot of heart. It definitely harkened back to those nostalgia types of feels when you watch this movie to those old 80s films. Beautiful film, beautiful feel, beautiful dragon. It's beautiful, but there are problems. Now for the bad. This movie doesn't have a lot of humor in it. I don't remember that much about the original Peach Dragon. It's been years since I've seen it, but one of the things I do remember is that it did have a lot of comedic moments. This movie does not. I'm not saying it has to be a joke fest, but if you're expecting a lot of humor or if you're expecting Elliot to do a lot of crazy, wacky stuff in this movie because he's a dragon in a different location, you're not gonna get a lot of that. Also, while I liked Oaks Fagley and Bryce Dallas Howard, I kind of felt like a lot of the other characters and actors in this movie were very one note or no note. It's not that the performances were bad, it's just that I felt like they weren't given a lot more to do than be the character that has to be this person. I have to be the supporting figure, I have to be the antagonist, I have to be the person that no one believes me. It's just very simple one note things. The movie tries to give you that retro feel. Sometimes it goes a little bit over the edge. There's one point where there's a bunch of workers, they're all hanging out on break, and one of the guys who happens to be the black guy of the group is sitting on top of a pickup truck with a little guitar in his hand, playing guitar, and I'm like, come on, dude, all right. I know it's supposed to be set in a little bit of a retro time, but now you're trying a bit too much. Oh, break time, time for me to break out the old guitar. Oh, yes, I'm the black guy with a guitar in the 80s time period type of film. Yeah, zippity-doo-dah. And I hate to do this, but I'm actually gonna compare Peach Dragon to 9 Lives. Remember when I said in the 9 Lives review, the 21-minute 9 Lives review, that as much as that movie was stupid and dumb and ridiculous, it never got too sappy, never got too schmaltzy. I can't say the same for Peach Dragon. There are times in this movie where the schmaltz works, where the sappiness works, and there are times where they are really pushing it. That orchestra feels like it's just getting closer and closer to you every time you watch a minute in this movie. It's just like, this is a sappy moment. You should should be crying right now because the orchestra keeps getting louder to let you know that you should have an emotion right here. I'm like, I got it, movie. This movie is good, man. I like this movie. I just gotta say, man, and this is not the movie's fault at all. This movie should not have come out the same year as The Jungle Book. The Jungle Book, you just can't help but compare the two, even down to the plot of Pete and how he's living versus how Mowgli is living in The Jungle Book. You can't help but compare the two because they're two Disney movies that are remakes of older Disney movies that now have similar stories. Jungle Book, we got talking panthers and bears and a Idris Elba tiger and Bill Murray singing Bare Necessities. What you got? We got Dragon, flying dragon. Christopher Walken as King Louie. We got a dragon. We got a dragon. It's Pete Dragon. Come on. We were in the Main Street Electrical Parade. Remember? Remember us? And now for the nerdy. You're gonna hear a lot of violin music in this movie. That violin music is played by none other than YouTube sensation Lindsey Sterling. And the voice of the dragon is John Kassir, the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. That puts the movie in a whole different perspective for me now. Hello, kiddies. Let's not drag on this film. We have to keep going for Pete's sake. Tales from the Disney Vault. Pete's Dragon is cute. It's a cute little film. Young people will like it. If you've got a big family and a big screen television, you could probably watch this when it comes on DVD and Blu-ray and still be enchanted by the wonder and the Disney magic. But if you don't have that, it's a good film for families, fine movie to watch, and the dragon and all the shots will look beautiful on the big screen. For me personally, I like the movie. I just personally like The Jungle Book a lot more. Just make sure you take your kids to see Pete's Dragon. Sausage Party also comes out this weekend, and yes, it's animated, but it's rated R. Do not take your kids to see Sausage Party, or do what most kids will do, buy tickets to Pete's Dragon and then sneak into Sausage Party. You know you're gonna do it, kids. Don't you act like you know ain't gonna do that. Some teenager wearing like a big hat and a big coat, probably standing on top of another kid, little rascal style, will be like, one ticket for Sausage Party, please. Where am I going with this? Let me know if you're gonna go see Pete's Dragon, or if you did, let me know what you thought of it. And what do you think Disney is gonna remake next? Because they cannot stop. Thumbs up this video, and if you're new here, tickle that subscribe button. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Audi 5000, chain chomp, yomp.